I lived in New York for about 10 years as an actor. It was okay, except I was often lonely and flat broke. My friend Ronnie would find jobs for me whenever I bottomed out on waiting tables or tending bar. Ever the optimist, she would always say stuff like, "We can be anything we want, we can be heroes." And I'd say, "How much does that pay?" Ronnie called me up one day. "Listen," she said, "there's a woman with muscular dystrophy who lives by you. Her name is Kimber. She needs a personal care worker. Call her, the money's great." Kimber was a grad student over at NYU, finishing a degree in drama therapy. She was in the middle of a clinical internship off campus when her morning aide, who was also her roommate, gave notice. I was game, so I went for an interview. At first, I thought personal care worker sounded a bit like personal assistant, but I quickly realized that I wouldn't be getting Kimber coffee or checking her emails. I'd be washing her and dressing her. I'd have to operate one of those lifts to get her from bed to wheelchair to shower chair and back to wheelchair. Not only that, she had this gorgeous hair that was done. You know, it was nice, and I could barely do my own hair. Plus, I had to get there at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I never got up for work before noon. But that's not why I passed. On the day I interviewed, the roommate answered the door, and it was obvious to me that the only reason she was quitting was because her cancer had returned with a vengeance. She saw the look on my face and countered with a look that only the terminally ill can make. It read, "Oh, you're gonna be another one of those perfectly healthy assholes who can't handle this shit, am I right?" Yes, she was right, 100%. But Kimber was lovely. We clicked instantly. She talked me through the whole thing step by step. There was nothing to worry about. I still said no. I apologized and bolted, speeding bullet style, but not before I said, "Listen, I'd really like to help if I could, even if it's just for one day, you know, until you find someone." Thinking, of course she'd find someone. This is New York City, for God's sake. There was a hero on every corner. Kimber called a week later. She had found someone, but they couldn't start for 3 days, and could I help her? I said yes. I was no hero, but maybe I could be less of an asshole if I tried. So for 3 mornings, I walked west on Bleecker Street in complete darkness. I let myself into the apartment and we got to work. Kimber was awesome. By the 3rd day, it was like I'd been doing this for years. The only part that was truly difficult was when it came time to brush her teeth. It was the last thing she did before she left for work. She held the toothbrush fine and could even manage the brushing, but she turned to me first and asked, "Could you just put a little toothpaste on my brush? I can't squeeze the tube." There was my kryptonite. It nearly brought me to my knees every time, because I knew then that any complaints I had stacked to heaven would fit inside a thimble. Kimber left for work, and her hair looked great. It was shiny and long, flowing behind her. As I watched her roll eastward into the rising sun, it almost looked like she was wearing a cape. Thank you.